Hi everybody, it's me Beth, and I wanted to do a video talking about my ideas and concepts regarding the idea if Greece was a Pokemon region. Well, with the news of a new Pokemon game coming out for the Switch and stuff, there's lots of rumors and ideas going around about what the new region's going to be based on, like Kalos being France, Alola being Hawaii, and so on and so forth. So I wanted to talk about my ideas and concepts for the characters, starters, possibly even the evil team, and similar stuff like that, and more going on to if Pokemon was going to make it into an anime arc, kind of basically character and shenanigans like that. I will link in the description below a video to a really good What If Greece Was a Pokemon Region by Mr. Buddy, who goes in depth about locations and other things in the Pokemon Greece region. That makes sense. And that'll deal more with like locations, brief ideas regarding the storyline and stuff like that. So, without further ado, let's get started. And also, before I forget, I'll also link down my Instagram and Twitter, which will have photos, much clearer photos of the Pokemon starters in their first evolution and the professor herself. So, ta-da! So, let's start off. Our Pokemon professor is Professor Daphne Laurel, who studies the relationship of people and Pokemon prior to the modern world, so to speak. She's kind of she is very no nonsense, very trying to keep her lab in some semblance of order because the starters are a little mischievous and tend to get into trouble a lot. The starters would be Nymphus, Dryadus, and Argon. As you can kind of see what types they'd be. Now, Nymphus, our first one, she would end up evolving into a water dark type. The name pending that I have for her final evolution would be Circeon, the middle one being Skilius, based off of Scylla, the monster mentioned in the Odyssey, and Circe, also mentioned in the Odyssey. Circeon would take on a more harpy-like siren appearance, and the dark type kind of playing into the roles that sirens often had in mythology, where they bring men down to the watery graves because of their singing and trickery. So our next type would be Dryadus. He is the grass type. His evolution would become Penopus, which would be a satyr-looking creature, and then Chiron, which would be a centaur-looking creature and be a grass psychic type. Taking inspiration from the satyr god Pan and the well-known centaur teacher Chiron. I can pronounce good. And finally we have Argon, who is our fire type. When he is in his first evolution, he is a bronze color, then becoming a silver color under Yandera. I'm not very good with Pokemon names. And then evolving into his final form, Carrion, which would be a fire ghost type, alluding to both Disney's Hercules with the Hades hair, and the fact that he is technically the guard dog of the underworld. In each evolution, Argon would gain a head. So the second form, which would be silver, he'd have 2 flaming heads, and final evolution, he'd have 3 heads that are gold, because he's a gold. And also referencing the ages of mythology, the ages of humanity that are mentioned in Greek mythology. It's a little weird, freaky, confusing stuff. But you get you get your starter, you go on your merry way, and gym leaders would be the grass type based off of the goddess Demeter. Fairy, Aphrodite. Ground, Hephaestus. Flying would be a mix between Apollo and Hermes. Fighting would be Athena. Fire would be Ares. Poison would be Dionysus, god of wine. And ghost would be Persephone or Persephone, the wife of Hades, mentioned in mythology. Now, these gym leaders would be kind of quirky individuals with their own quirks and memorable traits, especially with Demeter disliking one of the Elite Four members extremely and being very protective of the final gym leader, Persephone. There would also be some humor involving Apollo and Dionysus sharing the same gym, in a reference to the philosophical Apollyon and Dionysian, and a couple of myths where Dionysus and Apollo kind of share the same temple sometimes. How that would work is, when you first go in the flying gym, you see one of the guides being like, "Hey, oh, I see you don't have this badge yet. I can't let you go to the poison gym, but if you go fight Apollo, Apollo / Hermes would kind of just be everywhere, because hey, if you get this gym badge, you're good and I'll let you back in." And so you have to go fight Apollo and then get stuff in order to get to the Dionysus gym. Now, ground for Hephaestus, instead of having him be fire, I'm thinking more that volcanic ground type stuff regarding Hephaestus. And for fire, Ares is often symbolized with the bloodshed, more violent, destructive side of war, which includes a lot of flaming stuff, and he also the flaming boar is kind of his shtick. But there's probably a lot better gym leader shenanigans sorting around that would probably get changed, but those are my initial thoughts. The Elite Four members would be the electric type user Zeus, the normal type Hera, water type Poseidon, shock, and the dark type Hades. Now, Zeus, the Zeus-inspired character, would kind of be like Brock in the anime. He flirts with everything and anything. Regardless of the situation, he's like, "Hey!" until he gets knocked out by either Hera's Pokemon, Hera herself, or Hera using someone else's Pokemon. There'd probably be a few situations where she'd just pick up the Pokemon and go pop across his head in order to get him to stop flirting. Now, we're at the point of the champion, and normally your rival would be the champion that you'd fight before you'd become the champion, but the champion before your rival, if that makes any sense, would be based off of Hestia, the goddess of the hearth and of home life. She's the one who tends the hearth, who also makes sure that, central family-ness. It's kind of weird. Like I've said, methodology is kind of weird. She would be a fire psychic type user, and she would also help out along in the story. Kind of similar to how Cynthia helps out, and other champions have helped out in the story before you find out, "Oh, you're the champion, how cool!" Though, your rival would be the champion, and then some. But, I digress. So, who would be the evil team? I'm taking some inspiration from Mr. Buddy's video, in which the evil team is the former Elite Four, or members of former gyms, based off of the Titans. And cleverly enough, their name is Team Kronos. And their goal is to get revenge on the Elite Four members and the gym leaders that kicked them out and took their stuff. I haven't quite figured out what their organization is, but the head of them would be Kronos, god of time, or titan of time. He's kind of a weird, is he good, is he bad, weird thing, but in most of the mythologies do follow the, yeah, he was a bad dad kind of thing, and he'd be against Zeus and stuff like that. And now for some little fun tidbits and shenanigans and stuff. I've mentioned Zeus flirting with everything, Dionysus and Apollo sharing a gem. It would kind of be like the striation? The gym where you get the trio badge in Unova. Also, a very important thing to note is that Apollo would have affections for Professor Laurel, and there would be a couple of side quests, maybe even an episode or two dedicated to him trying to win her affection, and she does not like him. Very much like the myth in which the Laurel tree comes from, Apollo's in a losing situation trying to get Daphne's attention. And she's just, it's not that she's rude about it, she's just kind of like, thanks, you're great, I see you as a friend, not somebody I'm romantically attracted to. Yeah. And he mopes and whines and stuff like that. So those are my basic thoughts regarding this Greek region, kind of all over the place. I'd love to hear what your guys' thoughts are regarding the Greek region. Make sure you check out Mr. Buddy's Greek video to see what kind of places would be what kind of Greek places there would be. I'd also love to hear your thoughts regarding what other regions that would be good to check out and figure out the professor starters, leaders, and such like that. What kind of scenarios you'd like to see. And yeah, that seems about it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for getting all the way through the video. Have a wonderful rest of the day, and thank you for watching. Bye!